Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've been wanting to do this video for such a long time now, and I finally got it all together, but I want to do my top 5 best and worst makeup palettes, like eyeshadow palettes. So I have them all together. I'm going to do my favorite ones first and then my least favorites last. And some of my least favorites are going to probably piss somebody off, so I'm going to apologize now. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. My first eyeshadow palette will be a surprise to no one. I think this is probably most people's favorite eyeshadow palette, but I can't get enough of it. And I'm probably going to have to buy another one soon because some of my favorite shades are either hit pan or almost hit pan. And that is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. This is my baby. I take it everywhere. I've never done a look with it I don't like. As you can see, it is very well loved. Obviously my favorite shade here is, I think it's Primavera or Tempora. I lied. It's Tempera right here. And I've already hit pan on that. I love this palette. I love the shades. I feel like it has shades that suit every single eye color, every skin tone. It's just such a beautiful palette, and I think everybody needs this. It's definitely a must-have. I love that it's mainly matte. You only have 2 shimmers, and it's just gorgeous. Like, I've done so many looks with this. If I don't know what I want to do, this is definitely the palette I go for. Highly, highly recommend this palette. Another one of my favorite palettes, I know a lot of people didn't like this, but I love it, and it is the Naked Smoky eye palette. When I had silver hair, this was my go-to palette because it's so cool toned. I just love doing cool tone looks with my silver hair, but this is what it looks like. If I want to do a sultry, sexy, cool toned smoky eye, this is the palette I grab for. The shadows are very pigmented. I love these neutral shades. I'm trying not to blind you. I love these neutral shades up here just to get a very basic look. But then if you want to add some smokiness, you got some stuff over here. I really, really love this palette. I used the heck out of it when I had silver hair, but I think I'm going to play with it a little bit more now too. But definitely my go-to smoky eye palette. My next favorite palette came out like 2 years ago, and it's a limited edition. They don't sell it anymore, unfortunately. But I feel like we all need to write a petition to get her to come back out with it permanently. And it's oddly shaped. It's weird, but I love it. It's the Mi Vida Loca palette from Kat Von D. The packaging looks beautiful. I love displaying this just because it's such a pretty picture. And she does all her own artwork. It's gorgeous, but this, it's just so pretty. It's basically a giant color wheel, so you have every color you could possibly think of. There's a nice mixtures of mattes and shimmers, and then you have the neutral shades here just to make a basic look or to just pull any of these colors together so you can get a full look. And the reason I love this is I love these certain shades. This one here is my favorite. It's like this reddish color. It's so pretty. But I really like that you can get an entire look from this palette. Most colorful palettes don't give you all the neutrals you need to kind of pull and balance out the actual look. So I love this. I wish she'd bring it back out. It's definitely my favorite. When I want to do a colorful, bright, crazy look, this is what I grab, and it's just perfect. And I wish she'd come back out with it. And if you have this, let me know down below if you have it and you love it too. Next palette is another Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, and it's the Masterclass by Mario palette. I love this palette. It is missing like a few, I guess, shades that I need, like mainly a brown bone highlight, but that's okay. I like to grab for another palette, but this palette is just beautiful. I mean, the shades, the earthy tones are so pretty. You can get a very simple, basic look out of this palette, which I love. Sometimes, you know, we try to overdo it and do like 20,000 steps with our eyeshadow, and I think this kind of just pulls you back and makes you use like 1 or 2 and just do a very simple eye look. The shadows in here are so pigmented, they're so buttery, they're so blendable. I love the consistency of this palette. It's wonderful shades. Again, kind of reminiscent of the texture and shades in the Modern Renaissance. I love this palette. It's just so pretty. Like, I love the shade Kim is so pretty. Fifth Avenue is my other favorite. I mean, they're just so pigmented and beautiful. My last favorite palette is the Manny MUA Makeup Geek Collab palette. I love this palette. As you guys know, Makeup Geek shadows are some of my favorite shadows, so when this palette came out, I had to have it. And one of the main reasons I got this palette, it was really for one shadow, and it's Insomnia here, which is just this pretty duochrome shadow. I will swatch this for you, but it is just, look at that. That is so pretty, and that's the main reason I wanted this palette. But honestly, once I got it, I realized I love every single shade in this palette. They're just so pretty. They're so creamy. You can get such a warm, pretty, like, sexy look. This is like one of my favorite palettes to use during the summer. The shade Mars is really cool. The Aphrodite shade, that's really pretty all over the lid with Sora just in the crease and just giving you like a really warm, sultry, smoky eye. And again, just this Insomnia shade is to die for. I absolutely love it. I have it in the pigment as well, but I definitely like it better in the pressed. But I absolutely love this palette. Oh, speaking of which, I am giving one of these away right now. So I will link that giveaway at the end of the video if you want to win this yourself. I don't think it's available anymore on makeupgeek.com. If it is, I will link it down below if it is still available. But I love that palette, and if you want a chance to win it yourself, again, I will link that video at the end of this video. Okay, now on to my 5 least favorite palettes. So don't kill me. I'm sure there's a few in here everybody loves, but I'm sorry. Again, not really, but there's reasons I don't like them. But let's go ahead and jump right in. The first one is the Naked 2 palette. I just don't like this palette. It was actually my first Urban Decay palette, and to me all the colors just seem so similar, and I don't feel like you can get a really, like, too many different looks out of this palette. I don't like it. I feel like all the colors kind of muddy together and you can't really distinguish one color from another. You know, there's a few shades I like out of here that stand alone, like Pistol. I really like the shade Pistol, which is right here. I really like that shade, but I don't like using it with this palette. I'll usually do my eye makeup and then come back and grab like 1 or 2 shades out of this palette, like for a lid color. But I don't really like it. I never grab for it. I never use it. It's just, I don't like the cohesiveness of this palette. It's not there for me. The other one disappoints me so much because I wanted this so bad and I was so excited for it, and I like stalked Sephora for when it came, you know, in stock, and I got it, and we all know the giant controversy over it, but it is the Becca Jaclyn eyeshadow palette. Looks like this. It's so pretty, and as we know, they sent it to a different lab. We all know the controversy. Some came out good, some came out bad. Unfortunately, I got one of the bad ones, and it looks like this. I mean, the colors are gorgeous. Like, I wanted to love this so much. And I mean, the 2 shimmery ones here are my favorite. I have tried to use it. It just doesn't blend well. It's not pigmented. It's just kind of a dud for me, and it just makes me sad because it's so pretty, and again, I wanted it so bad, but you know, we all know what happened there, and it's really sad and unfortunate, and I feel really bad for Jaclyn because from the sound of it, she didn't know what was going on, or, you know, that they were sending it to another lab, so she seems like she was kind of blindsided by it too, so shame on you, Becca. But just not a good palette. Just, I don't like it, but I feel like I can't get rid of it. I know they offered refunds to anybody that went to return it, but it's almost like makeup Watergate to me, and I have like a little piece of, like, you know, history here, so I can't get rid of it. I can't. So I'm gonna keep it and just look at it because I don't know, I'm weird like that. Another palette that I just don't like, there's only 2, maybe 3 shades in it I like, but other than that, I'm just like, eh. And it's the Self-Made palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This was actually my first Anastasia palette, so it put a kind of bad taste in my mouth, but I just don't like this palette. I don't like, you can't get a lot of looks with it. It's just, I'm not inspired by it. The only one I really like right here is Pink Champagne, which is just, it is gorgeous, and it's one of my favorite shades ever from, you know, Anastasia. That one's pretty. I like Buttery. Where's that? Buttery is a really pretty all over shade, like a lid shade, a brow bone highlight shade. I really like that, and it is very buttery. And then the other one I like is Hot Cocoa here, which is just a basic brown shade, really pretty, very pigmented and creamy. Like, all these are pigmented and creamy. There's no duds in that area. I just never grab for this palette, and when I do, I never like the look I come up with. And some of these shades, like, I'll just never use. Like this Elsa blue shade, I know I'm never going to use that. If I do, I'll be very surprised. But it's just, I don't know, I just was not a fan of this palette, and I feel kind of bad. But maybe eventually I'll get some use out of the shades if I make myself use it. But I just don't like it as a complete palette in and of itself, if you know what I mean. Now this one I'm probably going to get shot for, but I don't like it. And it is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I don't like it. I got this when it first released, like the first time they released it. And I thought I was going to love it, but I don't. I don't like the shade selection. I think a lot of them look very similar. Every time I do the look, it always looks the same. Like, I just don't like it. I love the smell. I could smell it all day long. I did drop it, and these broke, which kind of made me sad, because they were like some of the only shades I like. I like the matte brown shades, but I can get that in any palette. But these peachy shades, they kind of just look all similar, and when I put them on my eye, it's like you can't really distinguish them. So I'm just not a fan of it. I feel like this was way overhyped and not worth the hype behind it. I think there's so many other great palettes that have very similar shades to this. This just did not do it for me. I just don't like it. I never use it. I just feel like I have to have it because I'm a beauty blogger, and what beauty blogger doesn't have the peach palette? I don't know, but I never use it. I don't like it. Not a fan. Sorry. And the last palette that I absolutely don't like and hate will come to no surprise because I did a full review on it, and it is the Kylie Royal Peach palette. Now, in theory, I thought I was going to love this palette. I was really excited for it. I stalked the website again to get it, and when it came, I was really excited. The packaging's so pretty. It just says Kylie in the rose gold, but mine did have a smell, and it still has a smell, and it's very strong, so I don't like that. The smell is coming from the packaging. It is not the shadows itself, so I wasn't really concerned with that. I just don't like the smell. But as for just the consistency of this palette, it's not cohesive, like I said in that review. And some of these shades really let me down, like this Mojito shade. It is not pigmented at all. Neither is this purpley shade here. Just they swatch pretty on the fingers, but when you go to put them on the eye, they just do not perform. I do like these matte shades. I do use the matte shades, especially these orange ones here, because I've been really into orange eye looks, hence today. But I love the orange shades in here. I'm not too big on the palette, period. Would I repurchase it? No. If I could go back and not buy it, I probably wouldn't buy it. I never use this palette. I do kind of regret buying it. The royal blue one I've used once, and I had to put like a pencil liner underneath of it and really pack it on just to get any pigmentation. They're just not very pigmented. Some are, some aren't. It's just you get so much variables in the quality of the shadows that, you know, you can't guarantee that every shadow is going to be nice. They're not that pigmented, some of them, you know, are just meh. But like I said, I do like some of these orange shades here, but I really don't like this palette in a whole. It just, you can't get a full look out of it, number one. There's not really a shade to highlight your brow bone or to deepen up your outer V. I mean, the darkest shade is up here, and it is just not dark enough to give you any dimension. You're not going to get a very dimensional look out of this palette, so I don't like it. Alright guys, so that was the end of my top 5 and bottom 5 of my eyeshadow palettes. If you guys like this and would want kind of like a series of me doing like foundations, primers, lipsticks, that kind of stuff, let me know down below or give this video a thumbs up if you'd like that as a series. And yeah, like I mentioned before, I do have a giveaway going on and you could possibly win that Makeup Geek mini palette. So I will link that kind of up here one place or another and you can enter that way. But I hope you enjoyed this video and I love you and I'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.